That's the problem with how I got this set up. I gotta be extra careful in case I knock something over, or move the tree out of frame. So, good morning, happy Friday, and my low is the fact that I've been up since before 5 a.m. Okay, so a little known fact about me, in case you don't already know. One of the things I value is promptness and making sure that I'm able to do something I'm supposed to do on time, or I'm able to get to my destination on time, or I get up to do something on time, etc. Unfortunately, when I know I have something very important to do the next morning and I know I have to wake up early for it, I legit lose sleep over, stressing, when do I get up? I gotta go get up and do it. Surprisingly, in the beginning, after everything's said and done, I don't feel tired. At this moment, I feel surprisingly wired. Then again, what I did this morning was actually a lot of fun to do. It's something I've been looking forward to for a couple weeks now. But it's all taken care of. It's something that I prepared for a little get-together I'm going to tonight. Everything's all taken care of. Everything's in my refrigerator. It's all ready to go. So, my point is that my low is I stressed out virtually over nothing. I mean, here's the thing. Pretty obvious. I made guacamole this morning, and considering my schedule for the day, this early this morning was the only time I'd be able to do it. And I mean, I've made guacamole, gosh, I don't know how many times. I'd say more than a dozen, definitely less than 100. So, yeah, I make guacamole a lot, and I pretty much got a system down. I got a routine. I know how to get it done. And actually, this isn't the first time I've had to get up super early to make guacamole either. But there's a stress factor involved that if you're not careful, it can be relatively daunting. But I got it done. I will say though, this might be the most meticulous amount of effort I put into making guacamole that I've done in a long time. Unfortunately, I let my mom get in my head because she really doesn't like big chunks of onion in the guacamole, and I tried making the chunks a little smaller than I probably normally would. I mean, to be fair, the fact I made it by hand, everyone's already going to like it. The fact I put the amount of time and effort into it. So, I feel good. Which, actually, that's part of a high, the fact I got it done. Also, I was right about my NFL pick last night, but I'll get to that in a second. As well as yesterday's episode of Hot Ones was great. So, my low is I definitely lost sleep last night. My high is everything else I just mentioned. And my act of kindness was, technically the guacamole I made this morning was for a party I'm going to tonight. So, technically that's an act of kindness, but I'm trying to see if there's anything else I did. Because technically I didn't really perform. I mean, if I were to give the host of the party my guacamole, that's the act of kindness. Simply making it doesn't really do anything. Let's see. Yeah, I held the door for some people yesterday. I did that. Yeah, that's pretty much how I did. Just held the door for some people. So, foremost, to the Detroit Lions, congratulations on clinching a spot in the playoffs for being the number 1 seed in the NFC. And thank you for winning last night, because as of right now, I'm 1-0 going into the weekend, which is awesome. There we go. Now this is a little more comfortable. Okay, we're cool. Actually, let me. I know I double saved before I started the video, but let me do it again. Perfect. So, of all teams, listen, if you're a fan of the NFL and you know that one of the major things about the NFL is parity. Pretty much the NFL is built on, parity. Any given year, it really can be a team's year to win it all. And I'm not saying that the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm not saying that. I am, however, very impressed and rather humbled, actually. Because I, like many NFL fans, completely wrote off the Lions as a joke franchise. Especially after 2008 when they were the first team to go 0-16. Needless to say, I never thought they'd ever be this good, ever. So the fact that they're the number one seed in the NFC, clinching a spot in the playoffs, I don't think anyone ever predicted this. I'm sure there were fans that probably thought someday this would happen. I'm sure there were diehard Detroit Lions fans who, even when they went 0-16, they thought, you know what, that happened, but someday that's going to be us holding the Lombardi Trophy. Well, I can't quite say that. However, I can say that right now, when it comes to the NFC, you guys really are the team to beat. I'm being serious. I really don't think any team in the NFC is going to beat the Lions at home in the playoffs. The one team I can even remotely think of, okay. As a Cowboys fan, I hate to say this, but I'm pretty sure the Eagles are going to have to be the team to beat the Lions if it comes down to that. It pains me to say, but unfortunately, that's what's going to have to be. Right now, I can totally see a scenario where it's the Eagles and the Lions in the NFC Championship. I can see a scenario where it's the Vikings and the Lions in the NFC Championship. And actually, I know the Lions won last night, but Green Bay played them tough. The final score was 34-31. This was a close game. So I can totally see a scenario where the Packers meet the Lions in the NFC Championship. So, I saw a meme yesterday about the Super Bowl everybody wants is the Lions and the Bills. And I would like to see that too. However, unfortunately, if that were to happen, I would root for the Bills. Not just because I'm surrounded by the Bills Mafia, but... Okay, so I've said this before on camera, but it bears repeating. The one Super Bowl I've actually always wanted to see, and it really looks like this might happen, are the Bills and the Vikings. Why, you might ask? Because both teams have been to the Super Bowl 4 times, and they lost at the Super Bowl 4 times. If the Bills and the Vikings were to meet in the Super Bowl, one team would finally be able to win it all, and the other would keep the streak alive. Come on, that'd be that's a narrative ripe with story and cash grab and everything like that. That should be fun. I'd love to see that. But if it was the Bills and the Lions, that'd be okay too. I mean, I can totally see a scenario where it's, well, here's the thing. I keep saying the Bills. I don't want to say they're going yet. Because last time I made a bold prediction they were going to win it all, they didn't. In fact, for reference, it was, I hate to say it, but if the Damar Hamlin thing didn't happen in 2022, the Bills might have actually gone to win it all. But it happened. Damar Hamlin's back. That's awesome. So let's get into talking about hot ones. So, yeah. Now, I mentioned on Tuesday that this might be the season 25 finale. I mean, I half thought that. Because, I mean, it's still pretty early in December. Who knows what's going to happen next. But, no, at the very end of the episode, Sean said, closing out season 25 with Ben Stiller. I mean, as far as season closers go, this was truly good. And it's Ben Stiller. I mean, the man is a legend in the industry when it comes to acting and directing and all of film and filmmaking. He's one of the greats. He is. I mean, listen, no celebrity in Hollywood is ever perfect. He's been in some bad movies, to be sure. I'll get to that a little bit later. You know what? I mentioned Ben Stiller. I don't think I ever really talked about him, have I? Well, I mean, I guess the first movie I ever saw with Ben Stiller in it, where he was the leading man, was Zoolander. I mean, I was a dumb kid. I didn't really grasp how great Zoolander was until, much later. And now it's one of many movies from that era that I quote, because there really is more to life than being ridiculously good looking. I don't know. I'm only kidding. I'm not. I mean, listen, I think I'm okay. I mean, I pass for, at my best. Forget that. My best, I know I can pull off being a 9. I know. This, like what you see right now, this is a 6. Like, I will give myself a 6. Like, I'm going to work later. I dress okay for work, but, when I dress when I'm going out, like, yeah, I can pull off a 9. No question. But, obviously, actually, I didn't know that there was a show called Severance that Ben Stiller is directing. And the first question that Sean asked was, like, what are the steps that go into setting the tone and vibe on a show like Severance? Because it is rooted in comedy, and that's where the focus, that's where, like, the root of the whole show is. It is rooted in comedy. But over time, the sort of weirdness and strangeness and even a little bit of scary moments, like, they build over time. That's what Ben Stiller was trying to go for. Actually, Ben Stiller, he's a Knicks fan. I like the Knicks good. Talked about his most treasured Knicks moment was watching the Dante DiVincenzo shot in the playoffs, in the second game of the playoffs against Philly, which just happened a few months ago. He got to see the shot, and he was watching the game and seeing with his son. He got to see the game with his son, which is awesome. He talked about cheering for historically bad teams, which there's sort of like a generational trauma, which it's great when they're winning, but don't lean too hard in it. That's actually why, even though I'm rooting for the Buffalo Bills, I'm not quite leaning too hard in it yet. Because as a Cowboys fan, I've been disappointed before. And the Cowboys have actually been one of the better teams historically. But that's just me. He talked about his earliest love of filmmaking. the earliest memory of him knowing he loved filmmaking was when his dad gave him a camera and just started shooting everything he saw. Which, rest in peace, Jerry Stiller. If you don't know, Ben Stiller's dad is the legendary comedian Jerry Stiller. He's really great. He played Jason Alexander's dad on Seinfeld. Is it Frank Costanza? Anyway, yeah. He also played the father-in-law in King of Queens. But Jerry Stiller was a phenomenal talent when it came to comedy. Like, needless to say, you know, the apple did not fall far from the tree when it came to, you know, Jerry Stiller to Ben Stiller. I'll say that much. He talked about a star actor's relationship with a studio versus a film, versus in making a film versus a director's relationship with the studio making a film. And when it comes to the latter, you know, the director, like, they have much more responsibility. Like, no matter what happens, like, it is up to the director to put whatever is on that script to the screen and put it all together. That is like their number one job. Now, the star actor, you know, they can sort of be in their own bubble. I mean, there is a certain fear in terms of, like, you know, I really do want to do a good job for, you know, everyone watching, which is definitely there. But honestly, if I had to choose between being an actor and being a director, I would definitely say being an actor is more my wheelhouse. I get the feeling like, let's say for the sake of, I mean, listen, there really isn't much direction when it comes to making these videos. All I do is just put the phone right there and press record on the camera. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd be a better actor than a director. If I was ever offered to direct, or maybe I saw someone do it for a long period of time, like, okay, I want to try that, maybe I'd be interested. But if I'm choosing between being an actor and being a director, I would definitely consider being an actor more. He talked about how in the Meet the Fockers movie franchise, they couldn't use the word Focker in the title unless someone actually had that surname in real life. Which is funny because, listen, F-O-C-K-E-R, that sounds dangerously close to a word I really shouldn't be saying on camera. So I'm not going to say it here. He talked about, how in a broad comedy, like, the lead actor really ought to be grounded, whereas the supporting cast should focus on the much more absurd. Like in the movie Dodgeball, they talked about Vince Vaughn, who was also in Hot Ones, and a friend of Ben Stiller as well. Vince Vaughn, unbelievable talent, funny actor. If you've seen his movies, then you already know. But if you watch Dodgeball, and I didn't really think about this until Ben Stiller brought up in this episode, Vince Vaughn's playing that role pretty straight. He is. Like, for all intents and purposes, again, he is the straight man in a world that's otherwise absurd. I mean, yes, in real life there is, you know, a dodgeball association to some degree. I'm sure there is. But you never would have thought that that would be the focus of a movie in that world's universe. And moreover, you wouldn't expect that there'd be the kind of people who'd react to such a way in that universe. I mean, Alan Tudyk's character played a pirate in that movie. That's completely absurd. But in that movie, it works. It just does. He talked about how test audiences can be a force for good or for evil. And really, at the end of the day, they really can't be either. But they're mostly for good. I mean, listen, it'd be easy for anyone to just, like, make a movie. Actually, Okay, let's say for the sake of argument that it actually is easy to make a movie. You can make a movie and give it to the masses, but without a test audience, and maybe it might go well. Or you can not do that, and what if the movie turns out to be really bad, and so you're going to wish you had a test audience to make sure everything looked okay. He talked about this one show called Heat Vision, Jack, not getting picked up. Really, Jack Black was supposed to play some sort of superhero, and Owen Wilson was going to play some sort of like dog or animal or something. And did he get picked up? I don't know. That question was a little bit on the weird side for me. Fun fact about Ben Stiller. He's a Star Trek fan. He's a Trekkie. He's a Star Trek fan. Actually, as long as I'm on the subject, I should talk about my overall experience with Star Trek. I like Star Trek. I do. I mean, I like the show. I'll watch it with... My dad loves Star Trek. My dad loves that show. He'll watch it every night it's on. And sometimes I'll watch it with him. Father-son bonding. And Star Trek is a good show. It is. I personally wouldn't consider myself a Trekkie by any means, but I definitely like the show enough to give it the proper respect and admiration that it deserves. Because Star Trek, like a lot of the great franchises of today, it's brought a lot of people together. And it's generational too. So, yeah man, Star Trek. Got on Ben Stiller for being a Star Trek fan. And Sean asked him, what from Star Trek do you wish something was real? And then Ben Stiller said the transfer. I'm like, yes. Because that's actually the great thing about Hot Ones too. Sometimes Sean will ask a question where you think to yourself, why have I never thought to ask that question myself? Like, why haven't I ever thought, if there was something from Star Trek that I wish was real, what would it be? And when I think about it, yeah, I think it'd be cool as hell if there was an actual real life transporter that you like beam me up sky and then I beam out of here and then I go somewhere else. I know with editing and stuff like that, if I knew how to edit, I could probably make that effect here. I don't know how to do that, but bear with me. But yeah, being able to go wherever you want, or being able to transport from place to place, almost like teleportation. Actually, does it qualify as teleportation? I think it never really occurred to me that what defines teleportation, what defines transporting, in Star Trek. But again, being able to go from place to place from anywhere, that's pretty cool. You know what? I bet with teleportation you could be transported anywhere. Teleporting you can go anywhere. Being a transporter, I'm betting there's a range you can go to. That's I think that's what it is. And for the last damn experience, the final Hot Ones question, possibly, of 2024. What's a film that Ben Stiller's made that was the most understood and or treated unfairly by critics? And I alluded to this earlier, how Ben Stiller's made some not good movies. The movie in question, Ben Stiller answered this one, is Zoolander 2. Now, I mentioned that I did see Zoolander when I was a kid. And I thought it was one of the most bizarre experiences ever, but I don't remember. I remember leaving that I didn't hate it. Again, I was a dumb kid. I wouldn't know how great Zoolander was until I was much older. So, why is my hand in my pocket? I shouldn't have my hand in my pocket. But again, I was a kid when I saw Zoolander. I was in my mid-20s when Zoolander 2 came out. And that's the problem with a lot of that's one big problem a lot of sequels have, especially if they're comedy sequels, and especially if they happen so many years apart from each other. Because you're not going to be able to capture lightning in a bottle again. Zoolander worked because there were elements in that movie made at that time that worked. It doesn't quite work again, a second time around. But that's the plague of all comedy sequels, especially. Like, you're never going to be able to capture the magic again. The last time I ever saw a good comedy sequel, one where I thought, like, yes, it was funny, I'm glad I saw this again, if they come with a third one, that'd be awesome, is Neighbors 2. Yeah, the Seth Rogen, Zac Efron movie. That's a comedy sequel I highly recommend you watch, especially if you saw the first one. But, yeah. This was a great episode of Hot Ones. For a very great season of Hot Ones, too. I feel as if I've been grandfathered into saying this every so often, especially when the season of Hot Ones ends, but if this was the first Hot Ones season that you've watched from beginning to end, then I envy you. Because this was a great Hot Ones season. Deshaun Evans, Chris Schoenberger, Camera Guy Bill, all the good folks over at First Week Feast to put Hot Ones together. Thank you for a wonderful season 25. Thank you for a wonderful 2024. In 2024, had a lot of really great episodes this year. Will Smith, just recently Ben Stiller, Pedro Pascal, Paul Mescal. I could keep going, but Demi Moore. So, unfortunately, I can't remember every actor or actress or celebrity that came on the show. But the point is, this is a great season. And I hope you all have, I hope you enjoy your time off. Enjoy a wonderful holiday. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a kick-ass Kwanzaa, and a Festivus for the rest of us. Yes, I know all about Festivus. Yes, I watch Seinfeld. That's the other show my dad likes to watch. Which also featured Jerry Stiller, which is Ben Stiller's dad. Everything came together. I think we're good for right now. I hope you liked this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on social media. As always, I'm very helping this video for all you guys watching. Don't forget, hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. Oh, happy Friday. I did not say happy Friday, but happy Friday, everyone. And remember, if you guys want to talk to anyone, you're here to lend me on your back, take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.